Is it safe to travel? This is a question we frequently get from our members when we talk about countries where we plan tours, where things have happened, whether they're natural disasters or political consequences, as we talked about in last week's newsletter. And there's a number of things that one has to take into consideration. I think for most of us, we often look at the Government of Canada's webpage, the travel advisory page that's put out by the Minister of External Affairs, that puts a rating on different countries. Those travel advisory ratings go from a 1, which is to exercise normal precautions, all the way up to a 4, which is, of course, avoid all travel. And how they actually establish those particular ratings and who gets what is a bit of a mystery, quite honestly. I've never really been able to figure it out myself. And we tend to read a lot into these things. We get members asking us all of the time, maybe they've booked a trip to some place and then all of a sudden realize that it has a level 2 exercise, a high degree of caution rating, which I find interesting because, if you look at it today, you'll see that France has a exercise high degree of caution rating. So does Thailand, for example. Many of our members have just come back from there, as does Indonesia. And then you've got countries like, the U.S., which is exercise normal precautions. And of course, most of us traveling to the U.S. would not think about doing anything other than exercising normal precautions, even though the relative risk compared to many other places like France or Thailand, I suppose that's a matter of opinion. So I think that one has to read a little bit between the lines and understand a little bit more about what's going on in country. Certainly something that we do. And while we certainly take heed of what the travel advisory rating is, we certainly don't hang our hat on it unless, of course, it gets up to a level 3 or a 4 when there are insurance or other implications. So I'm curious what you think about that. I know that our members travel to a lot around the world. I've traveled to countries that certainly have level 3 or even level 4 ratings. Because I've done the research and I understand what is actually going on behind the scenes and the actual risk to my own personal safety, which is, of course, the topic at hand here. Curious what you think about all that. In the meantime, I'm luckily here in Austria, which is a level 1, so the level of security is pretty. The level of risk is pretty low. So I'll enjoy it while I can before I head off to my next destination, Madeira, where I'll be running into a few members next week. So in the meantime, take care. We'll see you in next week's newsletter.